Hello. I was out on my bi-weekly walk. I take like a little nature walk, just try to get some outside time. If you hear cars going by, that's what that is. I am on a little path, but there are cars that are coming up in these hills that I live next to. But as I was walking, I was just thinking about how much we as a society have begun to reconnect with nature and the earth around us. And how when our societies and our civilizations and our technologies and all the things that make us feel separate from and apart from nature, when they fail us, how we find ourselves heavily reliant upon nature around us, the earth around us. And I was just thinking about how much I admire the brooks. I don't know, you might be able to hear like the creek kind of rushing on one side, you've got cars on the other, but it's like this juxtaposition of the two. And how as we find ourselves somewhat grounded, kind of forced to let go of some of these comforts that we've come to rely upon, we can find peace and solace and a sense of place back where it all started in the first place, which is the ground beneath us. From dust we are created, and to dust we shall return. And that dust, that is the backbone of all the things that we do create. One of the things I hope to take from this is a sense of, if things should return back to normal. And at this point, I kind of am thinking that I don't know how much of a good thing that would be. That I would like to put more effort into supporting the national parks and things of that nature, because when we don't have that stuff, which is very much built upon, this foundation of the earth on which we stand, that's all we have. And if we don't take care of that, where would we be? What would we have? I've also noticed, at least among my circles, there are people I've noticed in my extended social circles, that the people who are shut off even more so from nature in this time, and they don't have anything to grasp onto, are more panicky and filled with more anxiety and coming into like a fear-based way of seeing the world and interacting. Whereas people who are, going in their backyards or looking at flowers or trees or just getting out and away from that, are finding that there is peace there, even in the midst of all the chaos and stuff that's being projected to us, and that we might be experiencing in it's almost this otherworldly situation. And the further we get removed from that, or at least for me, it's almost like it's a whole different world in which all this stuff is happening. Like, I stopped watching the news. I get the updates as I need them. I live in a location that was placed on lockdown pretty early, and to see like the places that are not, it's like they're more panicky than what's going on where I live at, where we actually have to be like 6 feet apart, and we're taped out, and you can only have so many people in the store at a time, and so on. And it's just like, how much of that is the reality of what it's like to live in these times versus the projected image of what we should be feeling like, or what we think it would be like. Kind of like the image of our worst nightmares being projected back to us until we make that what's happening. So I feel it's almost like Earth has grounded us. It's like, you're grounded, you can't do this. But in that, if you've ever been grounded as a child, it seems like it's such a negative thing. But then it's like, in the midst of that, taking a time out in your room or having to sit down quietly, you find this little bit of peace that you forgot that was there. You get to dissociate yourself from some of the things that were overwhelming you at the moment, and you get a little bit of clarity. Not saying that dissociation is a an end that you want to get to and become too heavily reliant upon. I certainly think that has the potential to get way out of balance for many people. But from a healthy standpoint, like a balanced standpoint, it's important to kind of remove yourself from some things, particularly if they're not of a vibration that's going to help you, particularly, to feed yourself this constant diet of negativity and fear, so that you can become a walking embodiment of that, and then perpetuate it upon those around you. Because whether we want to accept it or not, we are all reliant upon each other. We're all impacting each other on a mental level, emotional level, psychological level, through the mechanism of subcommunication. We're constantly sending signals out to each other about whether or not the environment is safe, whether we have joy, and all these different things. And yeah, true, we all process those communication signals differently depending on where we are. Someone could be completely happy and full of joy, and a person who is normally full of fear, or they've gotten their wires crossed up and they've learned to associate that with some type of trauma, will associate that as some type of harm, or this person is going to mean harm, or this is a negative thing. So when we're being pumped full of fear and anxiety, even when we remove ourselves from that, we still pick it up. So that's one of the reasons why I feel like it's especially important, if you can responsibly do so, safely do so, to get some fresh air, get some sunlight, allow yourself to reconnect with nature around you, to help ground yourself in a time where we are very heavily being affected by the air energy of communication. That's not always sending the best possible communications, and communications that are truly reflective of the reality as it is around us. So, just my 2 cents. Stay blessed, not too stressed, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.